Hey guys and dolls, Allie here, and today we are doing my first ever Q&A. We're gonna be doing this with all the noise outside because this is the only time I had to film this, and it's New York City, and we're just gonna run on vibes and reduce the sound when we edit this. I asked everybody on Instagram, on YouTube, in my newsletters, on my website. I asked everybody to ask me questions. I wouldn't say I wanted juicy questions, but I definitely wanted fun questions because I wanted this to be a fun Q&A, because much like the last video, you're going to be listening to me talk a lot for the next, 10-15 minutes or so. So I wanted to keep it lively and keep it exciting. So you guys asked me some pretty fun stuff, and I was happy to see it. A lot of it I'm not going to answer because a lot of it is just I want to keep things for myself and keep some things private and for me, and or the story that coincides with said question was just a story I didn't want to tell. I am New York's favorite girlfriend. So without further ado, if you are new here, my name is Allie, and I live in New York City. I live in Harlem in particular, and I like to show you guys my life pretty much, and I like to give advice and tell you guys a little bit about New York City as a whole, and I also like to just do quirky videos once in a while, this being one of them. Let's get to the questions. Let's answer the first one. Okay, question one. One thing that people would be surprised to learn about me. Oh gosh, there's so many things. Be surprised that people would learn about me. Oh, I can cross one eye. I can cross one eye. I purposefully don't want children is one that a lot of people get surprised at, because I am a nurturing person by nature and I care a lot. And you would think that that would reflect in me wanting and having some maternal instincts. I have none. I couldn't fathom thinking about having children of my own. I can take care of your kid, no problem. But when it comes to me being able to do it on my own, I don't think I could. I've never had the maternal instinct, really. And also, there are times, and a lot of people get surprised when they hear this about me, there are times where I feel really very much like I care too much about myself. Little bit of like narcissistic tendency, I guess you can call it, or for lack of a better word. I care too much about myself and what I want to do. I'm a little on the selfish side. It comes to me wanting to travel and do fun things, and I don't want to worry about child. Not that other parents would, but I personally just can do it. And so I don't see myself with a child, which, when I started dating and I realized that I didn't want children, it was definitely one of the first things I put out there, because I didn't want to take the time with someone who wasn't going to feel the same way I felt about that. It took a long time to find someone. You'd be surprised at just how many people sort of expect that of you. Even like older people expect that of you, that idea that you're supposed to be maternal in every way and want children in every way. And I just zero desire, never gonna happen. For the love of God, I put an IUD into my body, 8-year one at that, in hopes to, take it into menopause. But your kids are lovely. I love your kids for the most part, except the teenagers when they get out of school at 3 o'clock. If you live in New York, you know. All right, next question. Have I ever had a celebrity sighting? I have had many. And living in New York City, it's a major city, obviously. And so with that comes celebrity sightings of all kinds. I used to live on the Upper West Side. And on the Upper West Side, once upon a time, I'd see like Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick all the time because they used to live there. And I'd see like Richard Kind all the time. And you see a lot of Broadway people, a lot of old school Broadway people live on the Upper West Side. My dream is to see Patti LuPone one day. I know. Right now we don't love her, but once upon a time there was like, oh my God, I wish I could see her. Anyway, But I've met a lot of famous people in retail. I used to do retail before I started doing, being a content creator and doing social media and freelancing on the side. With being in retail, and especially in such a high profile store, I used to work at a hat shop that's still pretty popular to this day. I would see celebrities in my shop all the time, and I used to be the shop manager, and so I have stories for days about like having to protect Kate Hudson from the paparazzi and numerous people that came around. That was a fun story. I've met Meg Ryan once. I helped Ed Harris with a hat. He bought a fisherman's like baseball cap, waterproof baseball cap from me. He was my last customer that particular day. He was the kindest human. I met Hilary Swank. That was fun. I'll never forget that. I've met Andre 3000. I've met Rami Malek. Rami, though, I didn't meet him in the shop. Rami, I met him on the street. Like, I met him in Nolita. And this is back when he was doing Mr. Robot. I've met Robin Williams. God bless him. I miss him so much. And I've probably my biggest get besides like Kate Hudson was Mike Tyson. I know he's not our favorite human being, but I met Mike Tyson when I was young. He was getting his one of his daughters baptized, and I was getting my god sister baptized the same day, and it was a hoopla. It was a spectacle in that church. It was hilarity. If I ever find that picture, I'll put it here if I find it. But that was fun. But yeah, New York City. You live here. You're bound to experience a celebrity. Steve Gutenberg walked by me once. It's almost an everyday thing if you're outside all the time, where you and in the right neighborhoods too. Some neighborhoods, if you want to go to, if you're visiting Meatpacking District, you'll always see somebody. Soho, Nolita, you'll always see somebody. Tribeca, you'll always see somebody. You don't see folks too far past like the Upper West Side. Like a lot of celebrities, unless they're like of the culture in some capacity. Like if you want to see Dapper Dan walk around Harlem, you know what I mean? You're not going to find a lot here on up, even like Washington Heights. I think the only celebrity you're going to find in Washington Heights is Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't know many others. That if you know any, put them in the comments so that people can go find them too. I might get in trouble for this one. My most unpopular New York City opinion. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. Nobody hate me. My most unpopular opinion is that everybody thinks they're made for living here. And so when they move here and they try to, and most times they fail spectacularly, they're wondering why. It's because you're not made for it. I wish I had like, I could go like more in depth and I'll give it a try here, but it's because you're not made for it. There is a certain kind of just bullish mentality you need to have to be here. And if you do stay, you have to be able to adapt quickly and you have to be able to take bullshit. New York is a city where you're taking bullshit all the time from people, from places, from the subways, from everything around you. There's bullshit happening. And so you have to have a tough skin to survive it. I'm born and raised. So, you're talking about me who's like taking the subway alone at 10, 11, 12 years old, who got spit on by a homeless person at least twice in her life, who's had a bag stolen, who's, just people would say that it's like a rite of passage for someone who just moved here to have all those things happen to them. But if you can't take it and you can't handle it and you can't just wake up the next day and go, okay, what's this next day going to look like for me? You're not going to cut it here. So my most unpopular opinion would be that you think you might make it here, you probably won't. You just probably won't. And if there's any sort of inkling of like a little bit of weakness in there or like any self doubts, lack of confidence, any of that, you're not built for it. Don't come here. Don't come here. Don't. The hardest part about being a lifestyle creator is defining what lifestyle is for me and then being able to give that back to you guys. That's the hardest part because lifestyle, there's so many umbrellas with lifestyle. There's so many pillars you can go after. Lately for me, it's been New York City's been a pillar. My life has been a pillar, but what does that really mean? And really trying to figure out what aspects of my life are okay to show you and what are not. What kind of lifestyle am I showing you? And what does that mean? Am I aesthetic? I'm far from it, admittedly. Am I leaning into like being an uptown girl? What is lifestyle? It's just such a broad umbrella. And so that's the toughest part is sort of figuring out what lifestyle means for me, and then being able to figure out how I can create the content for you that you'll want to watch. And that's part of the reasons why I came up with the Maybe Alley series. I wanted to sort of morph the media I was making, the blog posts that I was making about New York City, and sort of morph it into a visual media with the YouTube videos. And so I essentially have taken my blog and made it into a video series. And that way, I can give you guys little bits of my life with the New York City diaries, but also give you a little bit of what life is like in New York City with Maybe Alley. And so figuring out how to distinguish the two. Why did I start my YouTube channel? I answered this a little bit in my last video, which I'll leave up here, but I'll give you the like the what do you call it? Like a synopsis of it. I'll give you the synopsis. My mother passed away. 10 sessions of therapy were not enough to really figure out what this next chapter in life looks like. And so I essentially, after my therapy sessions were over, I decided to make a YouTube channel because I wanted to document my healing journey in real time so that I have this little like visual diary, all the things I was able to do while I was trying to heal from losing a parent and what that looks like for me. The hope is that as others watch these videos, they can see the healing within me, and then hopefully if unfortunately they've experienced something like this, they can find the healing within themselves too. Do I want to monetize one day? Sure. That, who wouldn't want to? But I am taking it one video at a time, and I'm making sure that I create proper foundations and create a proper family here before I even think about like making any money or anything like that. But that's the gist. That's the reason why I decided, because as a lost soul. While some days I still feel a little on the lost side, I have found great things in the stuff I've been able to do in the 6 months that I've been here. I don't regret starting this YouTube channel at all. I'm very happy. Okay, enough of that. No sadness, no sadness, no sadness, no sadness. None. What's it like filming in public in New York City? Short answer, I embarrassing. Depending on the video you're watching, I'm doing a voiceover. Some of my vlogs are heavy on B-roll while others aren't. When you see me talking into the camera, I have found a little nook where like no one has shown up for 30 seconds and I can get out what I need to say as quick as I can. It's hard to get comfortable with doing it because it for so long has been such a cringe thing, right? And you have to sort of be cringe and be okay with being cringe and embrace the cringe is what they tell you. And I'm slowly learning how to do that. I'm getting better at it though. Taking the camera in my face all the time, it has been working, and getting my husband to help me film more B-roll so I can focus on speaking to the camera directly has been helping too. But for the most part, it gets embarrassing, especially when I'm at a big event or something and I know there's going to be a ton of people who are not doing what I'm doing. I find it easiest at events where others are doing the same thing I'm doing because it's just a big group of people who are just going to give each other advice and help each other with content, right? I'll never forget. We were at Jacob's Pickles for our anniversary a few months ago, and there was a girl who was an influencer who was sitting next to us, my husband and I, and she had the biggest, brightest light on, and she was like live on TikTok eating. And everyone around her was just like despised by her. And my husband and I were like the only ones who were like, no, it's totally fine. You're fine. Because we were the only ones that kind of understood it because I do it all the time. I don't do that exact thing, but I make content, so I understood. And then afterwards, we had a really nice conversation about she was really vulnerable about the fact that she was doing this alone and had no help. And I gave her some tips about how to do some of this stuff alone, because I do a lot of what you see, a lot of what I'm doing is by myself. If you ever see a shot where I'm like in it and walking or talking or anything, that is a day where my husband has set aside time for me. Mostly I am just alone like doing this. And so it's not easy. It embarrassing. Embarrassing is the way I would put it, but you have to kind of get over that if you want to keep doing this, especially in a major city like New York City. What's the most only in NYC moment I've had? The most only in NYC moment I've had. I mean, there's so many. Favorites are always the moments that are like on the subway proper. So like you'll see a few unhoused people asking for money, or you'll see like, you know, the immigrants who are like selling candy, and then you'll see Showtime all in the same train, sometimes at the same time. And you're just kind of wondering how all of that happened. Yeah, no, that would be, yeah, those are usually the biggest moments. Anything on the subway is literally only here because the subway is it can be such a deranged place to, to experience life. You can experience like 6 different lives in it on the New York City subway at any given moment. It's really funny. Funny enough, I think in July I have sort of like a New York City subway guide of sorts for maybe Alley episode that I want to film for July, and that's going to be fun because just gonna be riding the trains probably mostly. Just gonna see what kind of things I experience. I'm a little nervous about that one, but I might end up doing like voiceovers for that. It's hard to put like only in NYC because, you know, major city, and so anything that happens in a major city is going to happen in all major cities for the most part. I guess anything that's like musical theater related or Broadway related, you can't get in every single city. So like, you know, stage dooring and getting to like bump into Darren Chris randomly on a sidewalk. Who did I bump into once on the sidewalk? There's a couple of theater people that I bump into from time to time. I just go, oh, I like you, you're fun. And they go like wave and leave. Not too many only in NYC moments. You know, as I get older, I'm a bit more of a hermit, so I'm not out as much. Not grumpy old grandma, but like grumpy auntie. Grumpy auntie. This was a good one. I actually got this one in my newsletter. So if you are not subscribed to my newsletter, I highly suggest doing so. I release a newsletter every Tuesday at around like 2 o'clock-ish, give or take. So if you want to, I'll leave the link in the description. They essentially asked, where do I go in New York City when I need some inspiration? And the answer is everywhere. But one of my favorite places to go, and you'll see it in maybe Alley episode I'm doing about parks, my favorite parks in New York. I like to go to Riverside Park. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie You've Got Mail with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. At the end of that movie, they meet up at the 91st Street Garden. Like Professor Love and all that stuff. And it's really such a beautiful movie, and it's such a love letter to the Upper West Side and to New York City. And I love Nora Ephron films, and that one always stuck with me. So anytime, you know, I feel a little down, I like to go there. If anyone ever is trying to like find me, if anyone's ever trying to find me, you'll probably find me at the 91st Street Garden and at Riverside Park. It's one of my favorite places, and I always kind of sort of envision that cheesy love stuff would happen to me there. I always envisioned a proposal there, you know, like a boyfriend would know how much I love that movie and like try to recreate it. That didn't happen. I got something better, by the way. Like my husband proposed to me at Disney World in front of Ariel in her grotto. Anyway, but that's where you'll find me mostly. Inspiration comes from anything, in my opinion. I'll visit art galleries. I'll go to the museum. I just want to look at art all the time, especially when I'm feeling low and I'm not feeling like myself. Art usually is what kind of brings me back out of it, and then I'm ready to go again, and I can like churn out 2-3 more videos and do my thing. But to relax me and to inspire me, art or the 91st Street Garden is the way I go. One New York City thing that I haven't done, I mean, I've done, having been born and raised here, I've even done things that like you can't even do anymore. You know what? I'll give a little love where it should go. I want to spend more than 5 minutes in Staten Island. You can come at me. It's fine. The only time I ever stepped foot in Staten Island in my 38 years of life, I took the ferry there because we were taking photos on it, and I did the loop. And a lot of New Yorkers do this, so this ain't new. This ain't new. Went in, touched Staten Island, went around, got back on the ferry, and went right back to Lower Manhattan. That is all of the Staten Island I've ever touched. So maybe spend a day in Staten Island and see what that's like, about what happens there. Maybe go to the mall over there. My husband has been to that mall several times. But that's probably it, because I've done everything else. I haven't done everything else in a long time. You know, your typical like Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, and all the like touristy New Yorky stuff. I've done it all. I did it all on school trips. I just thought of another one. Go to the 9/11 museum. I have yet to go to the 9/11 museum. I feel like I'd fall apart if I did. I was a freshman in high school when all of that happened. That stuff, lives in my head. It lives in my head rent free. Thank goodness, I didn't know anybody and I had some experiences, and maybe one day I'll tell you guys about it. I can't imagine what it's like for people who are down there and experiencing it in real time. See the museum, pay my respects. I've been to the fountains. I've just never been into the museum proper. Hopefully one day I'll work up the courage to do that without falling apart. From what I've gathered, they told me, well, you can read it on the website, there are parts of the museum where they're literally detour people who don't think they can handle it. And that's crazy to me that we have a museum like that, but warranted because some people legit just can't handle reliving that. I don't know if I'd be ready for that, but maybe that or Staten Island. What's something people don't see behind the scenes of my life? The stuff I don't talk about, really. I'm probably going to make one video discussing the topic of my health. One, and then probably never share, maybe do one once a year. Not everyone needs to know much about my health. My health is one thing I keep in here. It's not the greatest. I will keep it at that. I have a lot of things I need to reverse and work on, and I have been, and I've been eating better and doing my thing and doing so and doing that. The relationship I have with my husband, we keep that as much off the computer as we can. You'll see him, and if you've seen him in vlogs before, like he'll spend 2 seconds of a vlog once in a while, but that's really it. I'm not going to talk about him or my relationship with him. That's just not a thing that's going to happen. I've learned from many other vloggers by watching them and experiencing their life how much of a bad idea that is. So we just won't do it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are pretty much those are pretty much the things that I wouldn't show anybody, or like am choosing to not show anybody because it's no one's business. And while yes, they are aspects of my life, I'm not into parasocial relationships per se. Like none of you honestly know me. You know what I post. That's as far as I'm keeping that on purpose. I get a little more personal on my blog sometimes, and I get a little more personal on Instagram sometimes, but for the most part, you're just going to see what I want you to see. And that's how I've kept it. That's how I've always been since I've been on social media since like 2008, 2009. That's really it. I don't feel the need to share so much like that, but I'll share everything else. So feel free to ask me questions about other stuff, but like my health and my relationships, no, I won't answer those. How do I stay grounded in a city that's always on? For no other way to put it, how do I stay grounded in a city that's always on? I stay home when I need to turn off. Stay home when I need to turn off. There are literally times where like I'll say no to an event or I'll say no to something purely because my brain can't function anymore and I can't do it. I used to be very afraid to do that. I am no longer afraid to do that. As I get older, and this will surely happen to the young folks watching this video, I care less and less about what people are saying and doing. And me being grounded is meditating, staying home, not spending my money, and just kind of understanding that sometimes I need a day or sometimes two if it's really bad where I just need quiet because I literally just can't always stay on. I can't. Alessa can only do so much. I'm a human being. My final question is a not so juicy question. Might be boring for some, but hey, it is what it is. What's my morning routine like? It's very simple. As someone who goes to bed usually at like 3 in the morning, because I'm either editing or in a YouTube spiral, I'll wake up, I'll take my medications, I'll drink a ton of water, brush your teeth, do my skincare. I use the pineapple refresh from Rhode that I love. It smells so good on my skin. So I use that, get my face together, brush my teeth, do all that stuff. And then depending on if I'm fasting or not, because I do fast, I will either break that fast or I'll have some more water, turn on the TV for background noise because I need noise in order to do work. Let me know in the comments if you're like that too, where like you need noise in order to do work. And I'll start editing, answering emails, seeing if any clients want any extra or additional work from me, or if I need to adjust anything or do anything. So that's most of my morning. And then by like 12, 1 o'clock, I'm ready to like break my fast and eat food proper. Then I'll do that. But my morning is very easy. I don't know if you guys want to see me walk through my morning routine. If you do, let me know in the comments and I will figure out a way to film that without looking like death, because I look like death in the morning. Yeah, it's a very simple morning routine. Will it get more complicated with time? Maybe. I don't know. I do plan on incorporating a workout in there because I need to start working out again. But for now, that's the simplest. Okay, that's the simplest routine I got. Okay, guys and dolls, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know if you want me to do another one of these. If you do want me to, start asking me questions now. Maybe I'll do another one in another few months. You can ask me questions in my newsletter. You can ask me questions on my vlog. You can ask me questions on my Instagram. So all the links are down below if you want to find me in all those places. And I thank you guys and dolls so much for joining me. This was fun. Thank you for asking me all the questions. I definitely promise you I'll go to Staten Island, I'm sure. Okay, guys and dolls, I love you. Take care, and I will see you on the next one. Next one being, I think we got a July reset coming. So get ready for some major new stuff happening. Probably noticed it already. I'll give you a clue. Look at my channel banner when you have a moment, and you'll get a feel for what's happening. Okay, bye, guys and dolls.